A collection of 30 top mind quotes by some of the world's greatest thinkers. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Plutarch. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this beautiful path, I walk in peace. With each step, the wind blows. With each step, a flower blooms. Thich Nhat Hanh. Men are not prisoners of fate, but prisoners of their own minds. Franklin D. Roosevelt. The eye sees only what the mind is prepared to comprehend. Robertson Davies. Biology gives you a brain. Life turns it into a mind. Jeffrey Eugene Idas. Physical concepts are free creations of the human mind, and are not, however it may seem, uniquely determined by the external world. Albert Einstein. The mind has its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. John Milton. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Mark Twain. The empires of the future are the empires of the mind. Winston Churchill. Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. Eleanor Roosevelt. You can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind. Mahatma Gandhi. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Albert Einstein. As long as the mind is enslaved, the body can never be free. Psychological freedom, a firm sense of self-esteem, is the most powerful weapon against the long night of physical slavery. Martin Luther King Jr. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Joseph Addison would rather have a mind opened by wonder than one closed by belief. Jerry Spence. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. Friedrich Nietzsche. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. Henry Ford. The teacher who is indeed wise does not bid you to enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your mind. Kahlil Gibran. As a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a deep mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. Henry David Thoreau. We will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. Mahatma Gandhi. The purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Malcolm Forbes. Your living is determined not so much by what life brings to you as by the attitude you bring to life, not so much by what happens to you as by the way your mind looks at what happens. Kahlil Gibran. Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. Napoleon Hill. If the mind, that rules the body, ever so far forgets itself as to trample on its slave, the slave is never generous enough to forgive the injury, but will rise and smite the oppressor. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Joseph Addison. Most people believe the mind to be a mirror, more or less accurately